Right, here we are. So you should be able to see the Google Classroom. It's exactly the same as what I put on the online homework last night, but it also has the links to the textbook and also to the answers. So that could be useful. So we're just going to look a little bit more at solving two-step equations. We're actually going to start off with one-step equations, but we'll move on to two-step equations, and then you're going to work through exercise 10D. I've put questions 1 to 4. That's the kind of absolute minimum I want from everybody. I'm expecting many of you to go further than that, okay, depending on the time that you've got in the lesson. But I'm kind of thinking, right, the slowest person would get questions 1 to 4 completed within this lesson time. But I'd really like you to use the full lesson time to see how far you can go, because the later questions, whoops, what am I doing? Right, the later questions do make you think more. Okay, so let's have a look at the book. Here is chapter 10 and exercise 10D. So these are the questions everyone needs to do. And we're trying today to, this is kind of a bit of a warm-up, and then we're trying to solve equations not by inspection as we have done in the past, but by thinking about operations on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. So you might see, I'm going to attempt to write on here, you might see this written, LHS, okay, and RHS. So this is left-hand side and right-hand side as we look at the equation. And here, these arrows represent what's happening on both sides, and we have to always do an operation on both sides. So we start by looking at the bit that contains our variable. We've got 7x, and we want to get x. So you need to think about, well, 7x means 7 times x. So if I've multiplied by 7, I need to divide by 7 to go backwards. Okay, so what would be the missing number here? Don't type it in the chat until I say, because I want to give everyone a chance to think. You can type it in, but don't press enter. And then when I say now, you guys can press enter. Now. Okay, I'm just figuring out how to get off of here. All right, fantastic. Okay, let's have a look back over here then. So these are the ones that you're going to do. Where you have to copy and complete these, you're going to fill in the operation that would be where the question mark is. So that will always be plus something, minus something, times something, or divide by something. We're going to have a look at these ones together right now. So I'm going to tell you which bit I'd like you to do, and you're going to type it in, and when I say now, you're going to press enter. So we're starting with 7a plus 3. This is why it's a two-step equation, because one step, we get 7a equals 35, and then the second step, we're going to have a equals something. So what's the first thing that we will undo? How do we get on the left-hand side from 7a plus 3 just to 7a? And on the right-hand side, we go from 38 to 35. What operation would be where this question mark is? Okay, so have a think and type the operation in now. Okay, so the correct answer here is just minus 3. The operation is subtract 3. So lots of you are putting that. If you're just putting minus, you need to put a little bit more. If you put plus, you need to think about doing the inverse operation. And if you wrote out the whole equation, then that was just a bit too much. Okay, so now we've got 7a equals 35. So what operation do we need to do? I'm asking you what would be where this question mark is to get from 7a just to a. And then we'll do the last line in a minute. So what operation do we need there? All right. Please have your answer ready and go. I really want everyone to try and type it at the same time, because I'm trying to avoid people just kind of copying what other people are saying. Okay. All right. Lots of people are saying divide 7. I know what you mean, right? But you should say divide by 7. It's only a really minor point, but you wouldn't say multiply 5, right? You're saying divide by 7. If you just say divide 7, it makes it sound like you're dividing 7 by something else. Thank you, Jenny. Right, so the correct answer there would be divide by 7. Or if you wrote, I think it's quite difficult to get the divide symbol on here, but that's fine. Okay, thanks very much. Next one. What would the final line here be? The bit that I'm highlighting there. That our solution is when we've solved it. What would that say? Okay, get yourselves ready. And type. Excellent. Okay, lots of you ready to go. As soon as I said it, do try to avoid typing it too early. Okay, so use the equals sign. So it's true that A is 5, but I want it to be A equals 5. Excellent. Right, most of you have got the hang of that already, or you're sort of learning as we go. So let's move on to B. So to get from 4B minus 10 equals 4, I'm looking at the left-hand side because that contains my letter. And I think, okay, this means I multiplied a number by 4, then I subtracted 10, and my answer was 14. So first thing I'm going to undo, I'm going to add on 10. So what line would I get here, please? What would that say? Don't press enter yet. I want everyone to have a little bit of thinking time. Okay, so what would the left-hand side look like if I add 10, and what would the right-hand side look like if I add 10? Okay, go. All right, lots of you have put that in. So 4b equals 24. If you said 4b equals 14, then you just forgot to add 10 on the other side as well. So you need to add 10 to both sides. Okay, next part. What would, if I've got 4b equals 10, I can't really type on this, but you'll have to imagine, maybe I can write it in. 4b equals 10. What would I have to do to both sides to get, because my aim is always to get the letter on its own, right? So what would this question mark be? What operation am I performing there to get from 4b to b? Okay, ready, go. Oh, you guys are so quick at learning. You're writing divide by 4. Most of you are anyway. Okay, Ria, you've slightly jumped ahead. Ethan, you've slightly jumped ahead. You're giving me the next line rather than the operation. So listen to the question I'm asking. All right, okay, excellent, divide by 4. And what would our final line look like then? What would this line be? And I don't mind if you want to give this to me as a fraction, as a simplified fraction, or even as a decimal. I'll accept any of those answers. There's kind of 3 possible answers you might be giving there. Well, actually, there's kind of like 4 possible numbers on the right-hand side that would all be correct. If you can get them all, even better. Okay, go. Only Atish has given me an answer there. Where are the rest of you? Okay, well done. Good, 2.5. So the 4 answers I would have accepted there would have been, I would have accepted b equals 10 over 4, because that's what we're doing, dividing 10 by 4. I would have accepted b equals 5 over 2, because that's a simplified version. I would have accepted b equals 2.5, and that's what most of you actually wrote. And I also would have accepted b equals 2.5. Okay, so all of those answers would be absolutely perfect. All right, I think let's do one more before I let you guys go and have a go by yourselves. So can you fill in this missing for part C, can you fill in the missing number there, please? Okay, go. Oh, some of you have got, okay, a lot of you had gone already. Okay, correct, it's 10. Well done. Try to hold on before you put it in next time. And now I want the operation that you would use. So when you're asked to complete given equations algebraically, this is the method we're looking for. So showing what's happening on both sides. So what operation is this second pair of arrows? What am I aiming to get to? And how do I get there? So always look at the side where you've got your letter and think, what do I need to do here? Okay, I need to do the same on the other side. So what's the missing operation? Ready? Go. Okay. Some different answers there. Actually, you've written B is not correct. What do you mean by that? Okay, if you could type that into the chat or say it out loud. All right, guys, the correct answer here is subtract 6, if that's what you've written. Because I'm looking here, Q plus 6, and I want to get to Q. Remember, we're always trying to get our letter on its own. So to get from Q plus 6, well, I've added 6 onto Q, so I want to do the opposite to take it back to just being Q. That means I also want to do minus 6 on that side. And we've got 10 from the previous answer. So final, what would be our missing number there? Q equals what? In fact, could you write the whole of that last line? Q equals what would be the final answer there? Okay. Off you go. All right, actually, I can see that you've written question B is wrong. I don't know what you mean by that. You need to explain yourself a bit more. Question B is wrong. In what way? As far as I know, the question can't be. It's supposed to be 24, not 10. Oh, right. Ah, yes, you're absolutely right. Thank you for bringing that up. Right. Okay, let's finish this one off then. So here, I'll just finish question C and then yes, we'll go back to part B. Thank you for explaining that, Benedict. All right. So the final answer to part C is Q equals 4, which lots of you have got. Let's do this on here, Q equals 4. And then you're absolutely right, I was using 10, but this should have been 4B equals 24. So then B, this was divided by 4 and divided by 4. So B is 6 is the correct answer. There. Thank you very much for letting me know about that. I wrote 4B equals 10 on that second line. Okay, which means there was really only one possible answer, because we just write 6 as 6. Okay, but never mind. We're trying to just learn about the processes, okay, and that on each side, but that's important to point out. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I want you guys to have a chance to work through this. It's 9:45, so we've had 20 minutes of the lesson. We've got 40 minutes left, and I'd like you guys to crack on with some of these questions.